Caruso runs a break. Caldwell Pope goes to the wing here. James! Oh!
Trying to play at the defensive end. Got blown by back.
Oh, yes!
Hook jam!
Harden, step back. Puts up the three. Got hit. Shot's good! And one!
This time here, set.
Oh, Russell Westbrook!
To start talking about how last week kind of transpired. The basketball week was kind of cut in half a little bit as the players boycotted the games in the wake of Jacob Blake's shooting. If you didn't see, I posted a podcast and a video of me discussing that matter and talking about Black Lives Matter as a whole. Last Wednesday, led by the Bucks, the players, the NBA started to boycott the games in support of Jake Blake and to bring a message and more awareness to the situation itself and to the Black Lives Matter movement in order to get some change going on. This was a big impact. This was a big deal on not only just the NBA but the sports world, because after the Bucks did this, a lot of teams in NBA follows, or the rest of the teams that were playing today and the day after follow suit. And even different leagues started to do the same thing. You had MLB players canceling games or postponing games, I should say. I believe one game too. I think it was the A's and the Dodgers. They just put out their jerseys and they put out the 42 jersey for Jackie Robinson. And they also, I think it was his birthday too at the time. And they also put the Black Lives Matter shirt on the home base and they postponed the game. Also, soccer games was canceled too because of this. So this had a huge impact on not just the NBA but the sports world, and to bring awareness to this movement even more than what many leagues like the NBA have been doing to bring, like I said, awareness to the Black Lives Matter movement, which I think was pretty good and pretty impactful for them to do that and put a halt on the NBA games, because that was one big fear of what the NBA players was talking about. They was going to resume play. I know that was led by Kyrie Irving, who isn't in the bubble, but talking about that if they went forward with this, how this changed the viewing of the Black Lives Matter movement and what's going on in the world right now in terms of, or in this country I should say, in terms of racism being at an all-time high. And I think the NBA did a good job of responding to this. Granted, the Bucks went out on a limb and didn't really tell anybody about this, which led to some frustration within some players in the league, specifically LeBron James, who was very frustrated about the manner in which they went about going on their own and deciding to not show up for the game. Because if you remember, the Bucks, like I said, they was the first team to do this, but they didn't discuss doing this with anybody else. Not even with the Magic, and the Magic was on the court waiting for them to come out to play, and the Bucks didn't even show up. And as we started seeing things uncover and the Bucks talk about this, they even had their own discussion within the locker room about whether or not they should do this, because the Jacob Blake shooting took place in Kenosha, Washington, which is 45 minutes away from Milwaukee. So this kind of hit home to them, especially with Sterling Brown, who's on the team, who actually experienced police brutality not too long ago. I think it was in 2018. So this hit a little bit different to them, and they had that internal discussion and ultimately led to them not even showing up for the game. And LeBron James, he walked out of the meeting that the players had that night because he supported the Bucks. He supported the boycott, but there was no plan. James' actions and outcomes matters. He said, yeah, for James, the actions and outcomes matter the most. Otherwise, why do this? This all came from Shams, by the way. He became comfortable to play once NBPA mapped out purpose and plan. So that was a big issue because I see a lot of people also talk about this. Okay, y'all boycott this game, but how many more games are going to be boycotted? This went on all the way until Saturday when they resumed play. It was a good question that was brought up because, okay, this is a good thing that we're boycotting and bringing awareness to the situation, but think about the impact this can have on everyone here who put together this bubble and made this happen, and the owners who worked together with the NBPA, Michelle Roberts and Chris Paul and them, to make the bubble happen and for them to be still, for the owners, financially able, and for the players to still receive their money. Because if they would have kept continuing this boycott, you would have seen some repercussions coming down from the owners and cutting possibly 25% of the player's salary going into 2021 next season, and the bargain for their agreement for the next contract they had would have been compromised because of this. So ultimately, they was able to fix this and resolve this. Like I said, play resumed on Saturday. But another thing that came out from this, I seen Stephen A. Smith talk about this on First Take. It was actually the first time I heard somebody even mention this, was that some of the players were unhappy in the way that James presented himself in the meeting. As I said, he was already upset in which the manner the team, or the Bucks, I should say, decided to go ahead on their own and take a stand and boycott the games. But other players was upset because of the way, because from what I seen, he talked in the last 15 minutes and he was talking as if I got to take care of the guys beneath me. The guys beneath me. Keep repeating that statement. And a lot of guys was turned off by that fact because they like, what do you mean the guys beneath you? Like, basically he was seeing like, I'm the leader, I'm the pawpaw, I need to take care of them and stuff like that. And basically talking about how he already got his, and that's why he walked out. Because he's very frustrated, and it took some players to meet up with LeBron after the meeting to kind of calm him down and bring him back down and realize what's going on. So that was very interesting, because a lot of people in the media, there is always talks about like LeBron being this control freak or like this kind of a drama queen, a little bit. And I think this is probably the first report we've seen of LeBron James being looked upon in a negative light and how he's handling the situation. Because if you look at LeBron James' career, there's really no blemish on anything he's done besides, I guess you can call it decision one. But from him as a player and like his reputation, there really hasn't been anything negative said about this guy. So for this to come out, this was very intriguing because this just kind of goes to show what I always thought, that he was, a little control freak and, felt like he's the Don of the league. Granted, he is the greatest player, the second greatest player of all time, and is the greatest player in the NBA right now. But still, you got some good guys in that room that you talking to, and they may be younger than you, old man Brown, but come on now, stop that. But so I found that very interesting. So I like how the NBA, going off that, I like how the NBA is continuing to step up in social justice when it comes to these matters. The NBA has been on the forefront of a lot of issues, going back to the Donald Sterling situation when Adam Silver, that's one of the first things they had to take care of as commissioner, and how they handled that situation, and just racial matters, even with the I Came Brief shirts that they had previously when Eric Garner and that situation happened in 2014. So they always been on the forefront of when that happened. But when is it going to be up to the rest of the nation to step up? Because we are seeing a recurring thing right now where these athletes are sending messages, and I like how they're doing this because sports is kind of like the main media of America, especially given that, a lot of production for TV shows and movies had to be halted. We're seeing them return right now, but was halted because of this pandemic that we're going through with the coronavirus. So the sports world has always been like, I guess, the main media of what everybody consumes. Because like me myself, I ain't gonna lie, like until basketball got canceled, I wasn't taking this coronavirus a little bit too seriously. So, and I think majority, I don't want to say majority, but a lot of people in the nation felt the same way, because that's when you start seeing other leagues start to shut down. You start seeing more rules, regulations starting to come out about the virus, and what cities and states start issuing orders of like people staying inside and wearing masks, mandating that stuff. So not only did I feel that way, but a lot of people in the world felt that way too. So it just, when is it going to come? When is it going to come from people other than the athletes themselves, for people just to stand up for what's going on, the social injustice? There's people vacuuming above me, if you can hear that. But when is it going to come for other people to stand up for the social injustice going on besides just the athletes themselves? So as the league resumed, it was commitments that was made from the NBA and NBPA to resume playoffs. So what they decided to do was to establish a social justice coalition featuring reps from players, coaches, and governors, convert team arenas into voting locations for 2020 general election, and they also create more advertising spots in playoff games that promote civic engagement in local and national elections. So I thought it was pretty good thing for the NBA and NBPA to agree on in order to continue the playoffs and to still spread the message of what's going on with the Black Lives Matter movement and with the social injustice and racism going on in this country. I think they did a great job of handling that because, like I said, it's great for them to take a stand and to boycott what's going on and to bring awareness to it, but also it's important for them to look after themselves and make sure they don't lose anything financially because of this. And also for me, I don't want to be selfish. Like I want them to play basketball, especially they're in the midst of the playoffs right now, and there was a lot of work that went into them making this bubble even a thing and make it happen. So it would be a terrible thing to see this all go to waste. And I appreciate that they are still able to continue this and still bring awareness to the social injustice going on.